lost for our first game of these players. And we will see just how it does. It'll actually be an interesting one because we've got a gold versus gold, and I like that, you know. I like that we're seeing. Oftentimes you'll see just a number of stomps right away at the beginning of the tournament, and that's to make sure that we don't have two Grandmaster players playing each other right away, and then suddenly what could have been the grand finals.
Yeah,
you know, it kind of got lost in round one. It's like the MLG open bracket problem, you know, where you're like, well, yeah, we saw Life versus Scarlet go to like the most tense best of 3 ever, but why was it, you know, not on the main stage? However, we're loading into our wonderful Expedition loss, the first game of the Midwest Cup number 5. It will be not showing up. Game over, boys. All right. Hello. The struggle. Why does game capture not show up anymore? Well, that ain't right, but that's okay. We got it. Midwest Cup number 5 hype, as we can see.
That's right, son. Unfortunately, we missed some profanity that DJ threw out there for us. Of course, we can pull that back up if we wanted to.
All right, DjSpectre. At least you're not pink. Fuck pink. This is a broadcast not for children. That's so weird. OBS, why do you struggle so hard?
I don't know.
Not actually. It's a nice program though. So, up in our top right, who do we have? Who do we have up here, Sam?
We have our full-time gold player, part-time comedian, our orange Terran, DjSpectre.
Then spawning down in the bottom left side of the map, we have our green Terran. I thought it was Protoss. Maybe that was just last time.
He accidentally flagged himself as Protoss, but he just corrected it for me. He let DjSpectre know before the game started. Yeah.
Okay. I think I've seen it because I remember. I think I actually played him. And it was that was so long ago. That was like last summer. The Red Bull Battlegrounds qualifier. I played against him in Chicago. I think he was a Protoss then, but I suppose you can switch. So yeah, we do have, I guess, what do we got coming out of both of our players? It looks like...
So we had a little bit later gas taken by Seraphim, or rather I should say a pretty early gas by DjSpectre. I would think that means an earlier factory, but we'll see. We can only speculate as to what's going on in the mind of DjSpectre.
Yeah, he's a wild one. Seraphim going for the supply depot block on DjSpectre's wall. I kind of, it's cheeky. I kind of like it. We've got a reactor, and then, as you said, a quick factory coming out of DjSpectre. We have a Reaper coming out of Seraphim, so we'll see if that Reaper is able to do the job that it wants to do, basically. And Seraphim, he's got enough gas for a factory. We'll see if he drops it down, or instead, maybe... I think the only real logical place to go with continuing to mine gas as Seraphim is probably a factory, right? Unless you, I guess, bank up gas, get 3 barracks, get concussive shells and stim, and go nuts? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, so as a Terran, there's really no reason not to be on 1 gas unless you're doing something cheeky. There's no reason not to take 1 gas and to be mining it, because if you're going bio, it's good. Really, you need more gas than that if you're going to go... For most compositions in the factory, Stargate or Starport rather, sort of range. But he's going concussive shell first, which is always curious to see. But regardless, you want those tech lag upgrades of some sort. You want to drop some engineering bays later on as well.
Very true. Yeah, so I suppose, at the end of the day, these Hellions coming out of DjSpectre, they will get repelled by the Marauder, and the bunker wall, the supply depot wall, not bunker wall, coming out of our green Terran player Seraphim, and Seraphim now putting down a factory. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. He might just be going for like you either push the front with Hellions and then you drop in the main, or you drop the Hellions and you push the front with bio. He's moving his barracks onto the reactor, so we should see a Marine count come out here. in a moment. It'll be interesting to see what he does with the tech lab. He could also follow up with Banshees as well. That can be pretty annoying.
Out of DjSpectre?
Out of DjSpectre, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And this, I feel like this map isn't like amazing to do. I guess once your opponent takes a natural, it can be pretty good for dropping, doing that multi-prong harass between, you know, you get the natural and then kind of this back area. But it is kind of a compact main base. So on like a one base scenario, maybe the player trying to go for that multi-prong harass may actually kind of shoot himself in the foot, because suddenly you're in a pretty small spot and you're kind of fighting with a more spread out army.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hellions really aren't the tool that you want into the mid to late game in TVT. Am I loud? Am I quiet?
Just a little closer. The mic.
Oh. Kevin's he always worries about me. I really appreciate it. It's very sweet. He makes sure that I'm wearing proper attire for different things, make sure my collar is not
you got pants on today.
furled over. Yeah. I put my pants on before my my shoes.
Yeah.
Which any day that I begin that way, I'm proud of myself.
Sure.
Anyway, so what you were saying is totally correct in that right now Seraphim's staying on one base, right? He just dropped a command center on the high ground there, very safe. But DjSpectre is pushing with a tank. But these Marauders should be able to clean it up.
Yeah, very true. At first it was looking kind of close, and really it's almost going to be an even trade in armies, because as ineffective as Hellions are against Marauders, they were very clumped up on that.
Right. Yeah, he was getting good splash damage.
Yeah, up on that that ramp, and they got the splash damage that they really wanted in life. And now Seraphim, he's got a couple of Hellions to kind of push this away, and that should be enough. As you said, a Banshee coming out of DjSpectre, that'll be quite frustrating to deal with. However, Seraphim already having two, well, he has two command centers, although only one is an orbital, so as far as scans go, you know, he might be a little bit, we'll see. I mean, does he do the unfortunate, you drop a mule right before a cloaked Banshee comes into your base? I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's very possible. He should be okay, but yeah, I mean, you can have a really bad day just from one Banshee, right? They two-shot workers before upgrades, and so that could be a really rough time.
Actually, there's like no anti-air in Seraphim's side anyways.
Right,
three Marines, even if he sees a cloaked Banshee,
the Banshee can heads up kill 3 Marines.
Yeah. So this is a bad day to start out for Seraphim here. I kind of wish DjSpectre would just realize, hey, it's 3 Marines. I guess you don't know where. Are there more Marines somewhere, you know? So.
Right. I mean, it never hurts, right, to be conservative in that regard. Get out of the side of scan range, right? We move on in life. Seraphim maybe overreacting a little bit here, but he's just pulling everything to his other base.
Yeah, but to some extent,
he should start. Oh, he's just starting an engineering bay now.
Yeah,
when he gets another scan, his Viking should be able to clean this up.
Very true. Okay, the Viking, yeah, that should clean it up.
Well, yeah, his cloak's done as well.
Shh. Oh no, the disengage. That Banshee's feeling real good about life right now, although you should really just leave home with that. Another cloaked Banshee up at the front of the base, though, so that's going to be very frustrating for Seraphim. I don't think he has... Oh, he just has enough for another scan. Will it go down to clean up that second Banshee? I'm just not sure.
Yeah, so we do have a couple of missile turrets coming down, which is great, but we have a pretty significant worker lead, 31 to 20 workers in favor of DjSpectre at this point. So we should see him taking a decent lead. Of course, Seraphim's expansion, right, is earlier, but his worker count isn't high enough to really support and maximize on that advantage.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said about taking an earlier expansion, but there's also a lot to be said about actually using that earlier expansion. Right. If you, and I've done that in my own games, where you're just like, yeah, I have more bases than him, but oh wait, I'm not actually using those bases. So
Is it cheaper to salvage a bunker
than to
build a new one
way?
Than to repair it?
I'm not sure. I thought at one point you couldn't salvage when they were like damaged or something or burning. Was that? I don't know if that's true or not though.
I don't know. Terran is OP, so I would think no.
Okay, so we got another little. DjSpectre is just going with kind of the waves of attack that you usually see out of Terran, where you
in the campaign, right?
No, I mean like even just like
right.
Terran in general, you build up I mean, I don't play the race, but it seems to be most of the time they'll build up an army, they'll send it out, and then they'll have that second army kind of waiting in the wings to come back and join them. Whereas Zerg gets the constant reinforcements, and then Protoss it's the well, I'm going to stay on their base until 200 supply, right? No, but I mean Protoss you have the warp mechanic, whereas I mean Terran, yeah, it's just the waves after waves of I guess pressure or aggression that could be put on. And I like DjSpectre's position right now. It without a Banshee, without something that, you know, just I guess it's really just like a Banshee. Maybe if he dropped, you know, Marines and Marauders on these tanks, he could clean them up efficiently. But right now, with the position that Seraphim's in, he just can't clean up those tanks very well at all. And I would see that as this is a great opportunity for DjSpectre to just kind of macro up in the background too. He doesn't have to kill his opponent here. He just, you know.
Right, he's already done good economic damage and forcing the lift. Some of the things that Seraphim could have done there, he could have dropped a new bunker, or dropped a missile turret. Right, that's always going to help with this sort of push because it's going to slow down the pace at which medevacs can get engaged, or Banshees. And if nothing else, you don't even care if Marines are shoving up your ramp and they're doing damage to missile turrets. You're not doing damage to Marauders or Marines, so yeah, that's always a good thing. Hellions, not great here. Mines would be much cooler because they're forcing scans out of your opponent or damage, but still not good. Seraphim pulling the boys.
Maybe not for all the right reasons, but
in all the right ways. Very exciting.
Throws out a GG. That'll be it for...
that is game number 1 of the Midwest Cup number 5, Kevin.
It is.
And it was all the gold grandeur we always want to see, right? So we're always going to see the biggest challenge here, right, is how they make decisions and how they're going to support that with their technique, with their control. And we see some good play out of there with DjSpectre, right? Doing a little bit more of the sort of shenanigans. Goes for a quick cloak Banshee, isn't punished for it. And Seraphim doesn't defend it well enough. He takes a little bit too much economic damage. Does a good job, though. Holds for quite some time. Makes some good decisions as far as trying to get the right level of reaction. Lifting the command center there, right? Much better than pulling all of his workers away right away into a tank line. So he did a good job there. Just wasn't enough in the end.
Yep, and so now we've got DjSpectre taking the win on Expedition Lost. Sam, do you want me to host the next game, and you can do... if you need to, do admin stuff in the Midwest Cup chat room?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Fine.
So I'll host up the next one. I'm kicking you out of the party, or make me leader. Give me the power. Can you even do that? I don't even know. Okay.
Of course you can.
I don't know, man. Badlands 2.0. I assume you can't do anything. Okay, so we've got Overgrowth coming up next. So let me take a little bit of time to... I've already talked about the players a little bit. Kind of. We've had a little, here and there about it. But I'd like to introduce the players a little bit more formally. So we've got DjSpectre. He took that first game. He has a gold Terran from Illinois. And it looks like, Seraphim is a gold Terran, actually, not Protoss. Yep. I have the wrong info for him. Such is life. We will update that. There we go. Cool. It's gold Terran from Illinois as well. DjSpectre, you can find him at twitch.tv/DjSpectre. He's a very funny dude. I mean, level of skill might not be your Zans, your Bombers, your Polts, but you know what? He's a funny guy. He does Thirsty Thursday streams on every Thursday where he has a couple drinks, invites his viewers to have a couple of drinks and play along with him. It's pretty fun. I've joined in a couple of times. It's a funny dude. He joined us last night for the pre-show, I guess, if you will.
And we learned how bad we all are at party games, other than old Bob.
Yeah, other than Bob. I think he's a Canadian, French Canadian or something like that, and he wrecked us. So America loses again. Then again. Anyway, so a couple of fun facts. So there's a couple of things on the screen, talking about the players, and what this is. I told the players, hey, you know what? I'll let you guys kind of say whatever you want stream viewers and such to know about you. Fun facts, reaching the accomplishments, really whatever you want. And DjSpectre has He's very proud of. I think this winter he nursed a pair of kittens he found in a blizzard back to full health.
Real
They're doing
American
quite
hero
well.
right there.
Yeah, and that, that's a beautiful thing. He also is a master of the Harlem Shake, but still can't Dougie. And you know what? The Dougie, well, the Harlem Shake's pretty dumb.
The Harlem Shake is all about heart, though.
Yeah, it's all about soul.
Such
really.
technique, such finesse involved in the.
I'm not even sure it's about soul. It's just about what you, or not about technique, but it's just about what you got inside you.
And isn't that beautiful?
And so that's a little bit about DjSpectre. He's quite the clown. He's quite the character, but he's a cool dude. Seraphim, as I mentioned, I think I remember meeting him in Chicago when I visited there for I think for Shycraft and for the Red Bull Battlegrounds Detroit qualifier. You can hear in the background we were loading into Overgrowth, so I'll finish up my my talk about Seraphim. I guess he is the leader of one of the leaders, I think, of a gaming community called Knights of the Inner Circle. Kind of cool. He wears the clan tag Knights of the Inner Circle, and I kind of looked it up a little bit, and I think it's a Steam group. So kind of a multi-game group, but I think just looking to be, a wholesome bunch of dudes or ladies or whoever you want to be,
Players.
Playing games.
Players. Which is really cool because,
So
I mean, StarCraft, I think more than any other game, we have that situation where people just are like hardcore, right? They're like, why would I play other games when I could play StarCraft? And it's cool to vary a little bit. I've been one to do that quite a bit too, because it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
But
so
it is cool to mix in some other genres, some other games.
we are loaded in here onto Overgrowth, our second game of the first match of the day between Seraphim and DjSpectre. Up in the top right, he is the green Terran. He's down one match, but let's see if we can bring it back. It is Seraphim.
And spawning on the bottom left, as the orange Terran, up 1-0, DjSpectre.
So, last game, I guess. Last game, we definitely saw a very, I guess, a very specific, build out of DjSpectre, or a very, I don't think specific is the right word, a very deliberate build out of DjSpectre.
Correct.
He knew what he wanted to do. He knew that he wanted to push out with those Hellions and his Marines, and was it one tank?
Yep, so
like
he
4
originally
Hellions,
he went with
Marines,
one
and a
tank.
tank. And then he followed that up with a couple of Banshees, really lay on that pressure, that harassment, that really just that ability for your opponent to make a mistake.
Right.
That's what you want to do with pressure. Is you say, well, I might not be playing perfectly in my play either, but hopefully this guy can mess up more than I do, and I'm going to help that by putting the pressure onto him.
Right, exactly.
Kind of making the blood boil a little bit. I don't know. The heartbeat get faster.
Right,
Blood
yeah, put the
boil,
pressure
sounds
onto your
better.
opponent and see who plays better under that pressure. For the kids at home, some of the things DjSpectre could have done there, he could have been a little bit more passive in his original push, right, with his Hellions. He didn't need to trade there. But just to push the front, right, to draw units there, going with Banshees, there's no reason to fight up a ramp in that situation, because he's, as long as he's taking a command center in the background, he's in a better situation. You're forcing your opponent to make units, but then you can, poke in with your Banshee. If there's no missile turret, you should be able to get some worker kills. Even if there is a missile turret, you can get some worker kills, but that's going to draw units back, right, to defend the Banshee. And at that point, you can either cloak and do more damage and try to stay outside of scan range, or he pulls back too much, right? If he overreacts, that's another situation. You put the pressure on, see how they're able to react under that pressure, and if he pulls too much back, then it's your opportunity to shove up the ramp and do some damage. But a good, deliberate game, as you said, by DjSpectre last time.
Yep. And Seraphim going a little greedier this game.
Very early command center.
Real quick command center. I guess he's, maybe if he anticipates the same kind of... So this is a very, very similar map to Expedition Lost as far as its layout. It's a two-person map. You always have your guaranteed spawns. It's kind of that little snake of a of a route between the two bases. And so I feel like a lot of builds end up being pretty similar here. Although I guess the third base oftentimes is a lot more contention
Right.
on Expedition Lost. But that's not really going to make as much of a difference in the early game here. Well, we won't go about the meta, the mind games on mind games on mind games. But anyway,
it could be that he's just very comfortable on it. The biggest critique of Overgrowth at this point, right, is that it's Daybreak, basically, of Wings of Liberty, where it's
like
a map that's been in the pool,
right?
so long, and it's just so thought out that maybe he just feels really comfortable. He kind of has an idea of what he can get away with here, and so he feels comfortable with that earlier command center. There's no destructible rocks into your main sort of deal.
Yeah, and a change in, I mean, actually a lot of change in the build from Seraphim. He's gone for an engineering bay pretty quickly, getting I mean, really, almost maybe a too early of a missile turret, but you know what, sometimes you're a little better off safe than sorry. Well, in the case of, I don't want to forget this, he gets a missile turret real early. Maybe if he expects a Banshee, Cloaked Banshee right away, like a rush to Cloaked Banshee without this push that's coming out, it is, I guess, a little bit more reasonable timing around that 6 to 7 minute mark. Is maybe about the fastest that you can get a Cloaked Banshee to your enemy's base. But there will be this same push out of DjSpectre. A couple of Marines in a tank. Do we have the Hellions following up? It looks like not really. So an interesting little bit of a change there. But this tank is really going to assert a lot of dominance onto this army of Seraphim and forces the lift, the cancel on the orbital and the lift. And yeah, just not a lot to answer this against this tank. Seraphim probably going for a tank of his own, but it's going to take a long time. I guess at the very least he can kind of be consoled in that DjSpectre is kind of taking his time on an expansion as well. So not
right. So that's the big thing as the defender here. You don't need to get that economy down as quickly, because we know that DjSpectre, right, he invested in this big push, so he probably doesn't have the same level of economy in the background here.
However, DjSpectre has been on top of his probes and pylons, or SCVs and supply depots, but able to pull out that worker lead, as well as having this pretty commanding position in the front of Seraphim's base. And now we're
does manage to pick off that barracks, which is a big deal. Would have been cool to get an earlier lift on that. Would be cool to land his other command center and transform that into an orbital, give himself a little bit more economy in the background. But at the end of the day, he just needs more production and a higher tech production right now.
Yeah, certainly. Interesting. I don't know if this Reaper ever... I didn't even notice this Reaper of Seraphim's. Just kind of hanging out. But at this point in time in the game, that Reaper doesn't really have a whole lot it can do. There's always going to be at least a couple of defending units in DjSpectre's base. In fact, this tank is just like, he's just waiting. I think that's awesome. Oh my gosh, we're going to see it. So yeah, this continued contain out of DjSpectre. Seraphim now with he's getting tank production on the way. He's going for a reactor and a tech lab onto the barracks, so probably some Marines, some Marauders. Unfortunately, probably, I mean, the only thing he'll have to defend against, say, if a Banshee were to come up, although we as the the eye in the sky know that that's still a ways off. Say if a Banshee came upon Seraphim, it could be pretty tough for him to clear out, but as it is, he might, when you're behind, you do have to cut some corners, and Seraphim saying, well, I know that there's Marines and tanks, so I need to defend against that. He just might not quite have the money, the economy, to really, fully protect against everything. You're going to have to cut a corner or two and just hope that your opponent doesn't go for that. We are seeing that. It is just a reactor on the starport, so probably no Banshee is going to be seeing this game out of DjSpectre. So a little bit lucky for Seraphim.
Yeah, I would think we're going to see Medevacs or Vikings. He could just be building the reactor on the starport. That's weird, of course, but we've seen stranger things. Medevacs are just always going to be good, though. It's going to give him high ground vision.
Especially with Spectre going into this, looking comfortable to go into a long game if he needs to. I think he seems all right with it. He's taking his third base because he knows that Seraphim is still just stuck on this one. Seraphim now grabbing a starport. Maybe he's thinking, okay, I think it's Banshee time because, I have to crack out of this contain somehow. And the sieged up tanks are in just such a great position. I think It's really hard to say if Seraphim could even move down his ramp because of this choke point and because of the, just the great advantage that siege tanks would have against an infantry force like this with no medevacs. It would be pretty devastating. So there's this Banshee coming out of Seraphim to try and push the tanks away, and so, eventually this should be cleaned up and Seraphim was able to move out, but he's actually chosen to just go ahead and, as he said, just land the orbital somewhere, start dropping mules, start making some FCVs.
Right, and there's no reason not to. Typically you'll see really high-level players will lift that command center and take it directly into their main because they don't want it to get chased down. But in this case, DjSpectre is the one caught. He's spending his time on other things, and Seraphim's able to pull a sly one on him and hide that base instead. The due diligence, right, would be to check where that command center's gone off to.
However, this drop by DjSpectre really kind of segmenting the army, getting out of that fortified area that the siege tanks.
Oh, the hot pickup on the tank! Incredible.
Oh, when a medevac with a number of units gets taken out, and DjSpectre with the his own little play-by-play, his own little commentary.
Jumps in. He didn't think that we were giving it as much excitement as it should have been, so he throws in.
Yeah. So Seraphim
holding both shifts.
Seraphim now with, it's really hard to say. Seraphim's got this Banshee out, and actually these tanks are completely exposed. So, he doesn't know that they're still there, and he's probably panicking with this drop here into the back by DjSpectre. DjSpectre really showing, I'm moving. I think he's got big goals to move up to like Platinum and beyond.
That's right.
Making use of medevac drops, because I think really you could just play gold and just macro up, but he's trying for.
But yeah, he's trying to do some of those things. We saw some multi-pronged aggression from him earlier, and as you said, the biggest step, right, is one is getting to that point of control where you're able to make use of a strategy like that. But the second big step is what we saw from him in the prior game, and this one as well, where we see some deliberate strategy being used. He did this, so he created the early Marine tank push so that he could go into multi-pronged medevac sort of pushes to get control, stuff like that. The big differentiators between players in this at this level. So we've seen some good stuff out of him so far. Seraphim, though, is doing a much better job in this game of reacting properly to the aggression. I would like to see him be a little bit more aggressive at getting down his ramp. And maybe building static defenses or something like that would help him a lot with his situation, right? He's already seen what DjSpectre's doing and will likely continue to do, but
yeah, I think
he's just sort of been reacting all game.
Yeah, and I think he's been really focused on, I need this kind of army composition, I need this kind of army composition, I need to make units that can fight. And we see that he has, he stayed okay on the army supply, but his worker supply definitely having some troubles. If he were to, I think at this point, if you're contained for so long, drop another CC on your high ground.
You've already hit one CC on DjSpectre. Yeah, why not?
As soon as you break out, you can drop that other CC, and through the power of meals, raining beautiful, beautiful money upon your economy, you could, maybe you could.
Yeah, but he's going to mine out in his main soon, and that's another big thing. So he's really got to be thinking, I need to take a third and a fourth right now.
So that's
whether he lift or otherwise, but he could A, move down his ramp and take this fight.
Yeah, I think he's just nervous about, what?
A tank's is scary.
Well, and it is, game number 2. He's on match point in this best of 3, and he's, sometimes your aversion to taking risks results in almost more damage to yourself, Yeah,
exactly. It's definitely a game of learning what trades you can take, what small advantages you can gain, and something like this, right? So he's avoiding all risk, but in turn that means he never even checked the bottom of his ramp in recent time there, so he didn't have the option of knowing that he could take that small trade, right? Take his natural and maybe a more defensible location.
Yeah, and so now we're kind of seeing, as I mentioned a little bit ago, army supply of Seraphim wasn't doing too bad, but now we're seeing this
the differential
almost
spurred on by the
ridiculous
economy.
Worker supply out of DjSpectre. he just continues to make SCVs. He's still making SCVs because he says, oh, how did I
battle cruisers.
Hello.
Hello. DjSpectre not wanting to just take this game, but take it in style.
Very much so.
Researching both Yamato Cannon and Cloak and creating battle cruisers all at the same time. Very classy.
Yeah, and so that he's, you know what? Oh man, I bet he wishes that he had the Legacy of the Void
Battle cruisers.
Battle Cruiser Warp, so that he could just.
Have they said that the ability's gonna stay?
Okay, I mean, for all we know, Legacy of the Void could just be Heart of the Swarm at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Because nothing is ever set in stone.
Seraphim taking my advice though, creates his third command center. If you hide one base on DjSpectre, why not try to hide another? The Xel'Naga Watchtower right there, right? Of course, does reveal that expansion.
Yeah, but I mean.
But if you never take it, you never see.
Yep. Oh, hello. He's on a journey.
Oh, he's going places. He's going to his opponent's gold.
He's got it. He's got it. He's got the go big or go home mentality.
He's going for the game breaker through swag points.
I like that, you know?
Yeah.
But now we see the battle cruiser online. Wait, is it? What do they say?
Battle cruiser operation.
Is that just Brood War or is that Mist too?
I feel like they kept it. Okay. Yeah, they kept it. There are some things that they wanted to get rid of.
No, you can't get rid of. Can't get rid of the battle cruiser operational.
I will say the things that they said in Brood War seemed like they were funnier, and then they seemed more prominent, right? In StarCraft 2, you don't really think about.
Yeah, I have no idea.
What does the Marauder say?
Then again, I play Zerg, so I just hear a lot of like weird organic sounds. A lot of. What if we could change them all to like cat sounds?
There used to be a way to change the sounds, and now it's just something that when people are on the BattleNet forums or Reddit and they're saying things that Blizzard should add for my game, you know, they say
Dude,
things like, I want voice acts.
I would pay $10 for my Zerglings to sound like cats. Easily. Like, that would be... I'm a compulsive buyer, too, so I'd probably buy everything. But anyway, we've got the swag cruisers floating above the city, raining down fiery death on the siege tanks. Might actually get taken out. Well, actually, what's our upgrade difference? Okay, not a huge upgrade difference. I was going to say the armor of the battlecruiser. If he got enough upgrades on that. Right now, the Marines are only doing 3 damage per shot.
Right.
If DjSpectre managed to get out, plus...
Seraphim pulls everything. He sims down the ramp for one last glorious battle. Tank's unsieged. He catches him with his pants down, but it's not enough. Sometimes you don't want to catch someone with their pants down, because it can end like that.
Sometimes you just don't. There's a lot of people that just don't need to see with their pants down, right?
Too far, too far.
DjSpectre with the swag. Seraphim with a little bit of BM. He's flying away. He's doing what Terrans were born to do. Lifting off his buildings and saying, I'm out of here. Take me to the gold base, because...
Right, so that base, right, not actually important to him from the perspective of mining. He does have all of his supply depots in that base and all of the production, and we do see the supply differential at this point. 45 to 199, so this is certainly an uphill battle. Now, if DjSpectre were to kill most of his own production, we could have ourselves an even fight in 15 minutes or so. We do see a counterattack, the first aggression out of Seraphim.
Yeah, and not doing too bad. I mean, DjSpectre's his whole army is in one, really just kind of in one place. And so it's going to take a little bit to get back, but really, I mean, this is a kind of a slow death spiral, unfortunately. You know, so it goes. And eventually, I guess DjSpectre will be able to clean up the rest of this army. I would assume by the time that Seraphim realizes he has no more fighting units, you know, maybe it's time to tap out. So DjSpectre is going to get a little bit... Okay, he's already seen this this one top left proxy expansion.
He finds the hidden base. I always love that moment when you're like, how long has he had this?
Yeah. That's like the... who was it? It was Yoshi versus Hypernia in like Midwest Cup 3, where...
Yoshi mined out a hidden base.
Yeah, it was... And we didn't notice it until it was like halfway mined out. Because I'm a pro observer, guys. But yeah, it looks like DjSpectre hunting down the extra, you know, the extra buildings of Seraphim. He has seen the one barracks by the gold, so he should be able to catch on to that one expansion as well. And eventually clean up this game. someday.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
we hope so. So the battle cruisers certainly are helpful, right? Oh, he kills one of his own battle cruisers.
Not sure if accidental or going for the
maximum disrespect.
little
play.
bit of BM. You know, just, just not too sure really. But yeah, continuing to clean up barracks. And I think this game, I mean, I guess we could kind of recap the game a little bit as we're waiting for it to finish
We
out.
certainly have that opportunity.
So I think last game is pretty easy to see. I think the Cloak Banshees, the lack of preparation for those, just kind of results in I lost. You know, like
Right.
it happens. Sometimes you're like, oh, there's GTs.
There's CT.
I don't have anything, and you know, it's game. But this game, they started out quite a bit more evenly.
Right.
I think it came down to, again, DjSpectre really, I mean, I like the word deliberate, I guess, for his choices and what he is doing. His choice to block out the natural expansion for Seraphim for so long, and then a little bit of Seraphim.
Oh, a little bit of late game micro saving the
bit.
battle cruiser.
Bit of Battlecruiser pullback micro. Very true. And,
Game.
hello. We'll call that an accidental pause. The pause is right by the surrender button.
Right.
It happens. So, DjSpectre taking that win, getting that nice 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Very
I mean,
proud
what
of
he
him.
did there was he just did a patient contain Seraphim